You must be careful about the words you use, or the words you allow to be used in your house. Words are things. You must be careful. Careful about calling people out of their names, using racial pejoratives and sexual pejoratives and all that ignorance. Don't do that.
It's time to talk about it.
Pull up a chair and take a seat.
We're serving up recipes for life.
With Hampton University's Dr. Richard Mason and Dr. Tamara Williams.
Welcome to the Sunday Brunch.
This is Dr. Tamara Williams.
And this is Dr. Richard Mason. And welcome to another edition of Sunday Brunch with the Good Doctors. How you doing?
Yeah, bro, let me tell you, I'm doing well. All is well. There are no complaints. And even if there were, I wouldn't share them because that's not going to change anything, right?
Not at the moment anyway.
Not, right? I'd rather do something about it and talk about
exactly,
it.
Exactly.
So I will say that all is well.
Well, you're looking well. So
thank
as they
you.
say, thank God you don't look like what you've been through.
Thank God for sure. Thank you, Jesus and Christ. Amen. All the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost on that one. But I thank him that we have the ability to learn, to adapt, to cope, and to help other people learn how to deal with things that happen in life. Because as long as we're living and breathing, we're going to be going through some things.
Exactly. No one ever promised you sunshine always.
What?
You know?
Never said it would be easy. Only said it'd be worth it.
That's it. And sometimes you need the rain.
Yeah.
You know,
so you can appreciate that good sun.
That and to cleanse some things, wash some things away, and to help grow.
Growth. Specifically. And so I'm thankful. Just like last week, it's a busy week, but you know the kind of weeks that we have. Like, we know that if it's not busy, we start asking what was really going on.
Exactly. But you know, you give me a space, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start adding some more things to that calendar.
You already know. We are. They call us twins for a reason. We try our best to shove it all in, but it's just always good to be able to help people, to assist people. It makes me feel good, and I grow and learn more.
Exactly.
As we tend to help people and serve. So we say that service leadership. We know about that. And
exactly.
If you're not willing to work, you pretty much are not sitting at this table. That's what we're finding out.
Exactly. You know, you got to have some service behind your name to sit at the table with us. So
indeed. And this helps us service a lot of people. So,
yes.
well, I welcome my people to Sunday Brunch. This is going to be a great Sunday brunch.
Oh, yes. I'm excited about today's show.
I'm hungry, too. I'm ready.
Yes, I am. So I'm going to head on to the buffet.
What you mean? You cannot leave. You always ready to run to the buffet. We haven't introduced the guests yet. We haven't talked about what our topic is today. I mean, that menu must be looking great out there because you were trying to get there.
It is. Well, I'll introduce the topic. We talking about bullying, y'all. Okay, so the topic has been introduced.
That is bullying at its finest right there. That is bullying at its finest. We all know people in our life who want us to do things the way they want us to do things. They're not happy with us unless we're doing things a certain way, or we can't exist in their presence unless we exist a certain type of way. There's so many different types of bullying.
Yes, and you know, I guess back in my day, bullying for me was give me your lunch money.
What?
You know, and so that's
somebody was trying to eat the cornbread.
Exactly.
No.
That's what we thought was, you know, we took that as bullying. But you realize, you know, you're learning more and more about what bullying really is. And there are things that are happening out here that some people don't even realize that they're actually being bullied.
Have been
or
bullied.
been bullied.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And keep signing up for the bullying.
Exactly. So, I mean, today we definitely want to educate folks about what is bullying, because if you have those types of behaviors, you need to stop.
Absolutely. And it looks different between women and men, too. Different types of bullying. I can remember all the years that I sat with the Girl Scouts talking about relational aggression, which is bullying. And it comes in a lot of forms with our young ladies.
Oh, yes.
Terrible.
Oh, yes. And the sad part about it is...
And adults, too. Let me throw that out there.
Listen, I was about to say, that was the sad part. You know, adults actually participate in this.
They don't grow out of it.
No.
Unless you address the issues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, from the public service side and servant side, people automatically think they can just say things to you.
Wait a minute.
And not understand that their behaviors are bullying behaviors. And then when you call them out on it, then they want to be a victim. So it's like you can't be a victim and a bully in the same
we
context.
all know those kind of people that will smack you and convince you that you smacked them.
Yeah. But then, then they get upset when,
when you pull out the video.
When you handle them a certain way.
When you have the receipts.
Because those that know me know you.
When you use your words.
You're not going to just treat me any kind of way.
Never.
Yes, exactly. I'm going to teach you how to treat me. That's the bottom line.
I think that our listeners and anybody out there would benefit from knowing that that's what happens with everybody. Mm-hmm. We teach people how to treat us.
Exactly.
We teach them by the things we accept, by the things we engage in, by the people we surround ourselves with. Mm-hmm. Even when it comes to bullying, just because you may not be the person saying or doing those things doesn't mean you're not participating. Mm-hmm. When you're aware of those things and you surround yourself with people who are the bullies, you send them to sick other people, you a bully too.
Exactly.
It's a whole lot of bullying, but we could talk. Listen, you know how we do. Yeah. Now is a good time. We're going to talk about who is coming here to talk with us about bullying today. Because you and I, we can go back and forth all day. Any topic.
Well, I'm going to the buffet.
Wait, let me tell you who's here.
All right.
After ask her, she might want something.
All right. Oh, I know you want a biscuit.
I want that bread. And if you see honey butter out there,
I got it.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
You know I love you.
All right.
So Shantae Miller White, no hyphen.
No hyphen.
Shantae Miller White is here with us to talk about bullying, and she works with Parents Against Bullying, Virginia. Right?
Yes.
Did I get that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome to the table, Shantae.
Thank you so much for having me.
I know you do so many other things. In the next couple of minutes, we'll get a chance to know a little bit more about you. But I know that that's one of the reasons we brought you to the table, because we see some bullying happening out there. People are saying things. You tell people, see something, say something.
Absolutely.
People are starting to say something. Videos are saying things.
Yes.
Behaviors are saying things. People are hurting people out there.
Absolutely.
We welcome to the table.
Thank you for having me at the table. That food is smelling good, too.
Okay, now listen. See, that's your cue, bro. Now is a good time. Hopefully the lines aren't looking too bad out there.
Listen, all I do, I skip lines sometimes.
Let them know.
I just ease on
front of the line.
Exactly.
Don't
Especially with the bacon.
bully.
Look, no bully. No bully. The bacon just called my name.
Okay, it's all right.
Let's be very clear. If you see bacon out there, you bring some bacon with that bread.
I got you.
Thank
I got you. Always,
bacon. We're serious about bacon at this table.
Me too.
You love bacon too? Welcome to Sunday Brunch.
Yes.
I like center cut. You like center cut?
Yes.
We're emancipated now. I want the center cut.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
So back to our topic, though, because we could talk about bacon all day, too. But back to our topic, bullying. Talk to us, Shantae, about your organization, and maybe give us a little bit about how you got into this as a passion itself. Were you bullied as a child? Did you see people get bullied? Talk to us.
Absolutely. Well, Parents Against Bullying Virginia is definitely not something that I thought I would ever be doing. And it was birthed from a incident that happened with one of my twin girls. Back in 2012, she was brutally attacked on the school bus by her bully. She was actually kicked in the head for a total of 17 minutes on the school bus.
Oh, the devil is a whole lot.
Yeah. And from then, fast forwarding, if you remember back in 2012, we really didn't talk a lot about bullying. You didn't see as many commercials and workshops and things of that nature. So I really felt alone during that time, and my girls as well. And so I said, once I was able to get them stable enough, I did some research and I said, I want to start talking to parents so that they can be proactive instead of reactive, even though it's something reactive to my family. So I started to gather some information, and I did one event, and it was called the Family Fun Day. Because if you invite people like you guys are doing today, inviting for food, if you invite people out and say you're going to have some food and you're going to, and if you're having food, they're going to come out, right? But if I would have said I'm just going to talk to you about anti-bullying awareness, no one would have showed up, right? I planned this in like a week. Over 500 people came out and they listened.
What'd
and I
you
had
put on your
different
flyer? Come eat.
Listen, free food, games, and fun and awareness.
And it was the Bounce House because I remember that event. That's what I remember that event. Yes.
So I mean, I made sure that I had resources to deal with anything that you might have to deal with daily, because a lot of times our bullies are reaching out for help, screaming for help because it's things that they don't have.
Time. Absolutely.
So I was just, like I said, I was just trying to research what is helpful, what can help somebody else from this situation that happened with my girls. How can I help someone else?
And you jumped over that so quickly, and I'm still traumatized by the 3 seconds that you just threw out there about your child being kicked in the head for 17 seconds.
17 minutes. A total of 17 minutes.
A total of 17 minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
And was your other child there at that time?
They were twins, or they are twins.
Know they're twins. So
one was in the back of the bus, and the other one was in the front. You know how crowded buses can be. You don't know what's going on, and the other twin didn't know what was going on until later on, as the kids kept videoing and screaming or whatever. And I guess I don't know if she heard her name or if she heard her sister scream. I never really got to that, or I don't remember that piece. How she got that information that's her sister back there, but she was able to get to the back, and she took her belt off and whipped her way through the crowd. I mean, because she said, "Mommy,
was clearing the way."
Right? She said, "Mommy, I heard them say my sister, so I went to help my sister." And to this day, people don't understand that that's a scar that people will carry for a lifetime.
That's why I wanted to take you back, because bullying doesn't just impact the people who are actually you think are the victims of bullying. It impacts other people around you as well. And having a twin, you can imagine. Are they identical or
they're fraternal?
It doesn't matter, but this is just the thought of you have a sibling, you have a sister, you have someone out there who's calling for you, and people are saying is in danger. That's traumatizing.
Listen, I mean, and to feel like me as a mother, I felt like I had failed my twins because of the fact that I was a hairstylist. I owned a salon back then, and I could take my girls back and forth to school. But I thought, this was the 6th grade, a new beginning. I wanted
this
to
happened
get
in middle school?
The first 2 weeks of middle school, transitioning 6th grade. So I said, I want them to get acclimated with their friends, learn how to kind of, have their own identity, and bam.
My daughter started middle school next year. So thank you. I'll be taking her to school.
Okay. I said, well, I can't say no.
Vicariously through others.
Listen, I mean, so I beat myself up for a while because of the fact that my daughter had been 3 years free of seizures before this attack. So she had epilepsy. Correct. So, and she had been 3 years free, and the doctor was just getting ready to take her off of her meds. And so she was excited. That was an exciting thing. And that day, I had to run home with my baby in my arms having a seizure. So it was like 5 out of 7 days for almost 2.5 plus years that these seizures came back because of this incident. So
stress added and triggered.
So I tell people it's much more than just the lunch money these days. It can turn into assault. It turns into our shootings that we've been having. A lot of those school shootings, if you think about it, you go back to when the reports come out, that person will come out and say they've been bullied. I mean, I'm not saying that's an excuse, but I'm telling you that a lot of these things are going back and stemming from some things that, we need to know these signs. We need to know what to look for. We need to know how to address it. We need to know, if our children are in need of help, they start to change their dynamics, meaning they were social butterflies, and then they start staying in their rooms or start doing different things by isolating themselves. We need to, you guys know, as the mental health providers, we have to pay attention to these things. So that's why we have to keep having communication and education on what's going on, and bridging with other people and gathering with other people to just get all of those things. And not one of us can do this alone. Like, I can help you, you can help me with all the adding the educational piece on things to look for, to be proactive. It takes a village. Our village is broken, so therefore we're losing at a lot of the things, even the sight of these incidents that are happening from the front end.
Exactly. And that's the important piece, is the awareness. Because a lot of times when parents bring kids into therapy for different things, trying to get them to a place to when they begin to see a change. That's when we begin to identify certain milestones or certain things have happened. Whether it was a death of a family member, a loved one, something that happened in the community.
A divorce.
Exactly. You just never know how certain things impact a kid and what's going on with them. And so that's when you start to notice certain things that are going on with the bullying aspect, whether or not they are bullying someone or they are a victim of bullying.
And you got to know what it is. That's what we got to start off with, because people sometimes use that as a piece of loose leaf paper as well. You can't just say everything is bullying. You have to know what it is. It's an unwanted, aggressive, continuous behavior by one or many people. You have to know what it is. It's not just a one-time, oh, Johnny smacked Sherry. It's not just that. It's not, oh, they took the book bag, or they didn't want them to be their friends over at the play. It's not just that. You got to know what it is. It's like you guys said earlier, so many different types of bullying that you have to educate yourself. And the other thing that I tell these parents, you know how you used to come home with your signing of all these papers, and when you first start school, you got the handbooks and all that. Get educated on that handbook. That's going to be like your Bible.
Yes.
You need to know this thing. I don't care if it take you a couple of times to go through it, because at the end of the day, if you don't know your rights, and sometimes what's even spelled out in there that can help you with the identifying, is this really what this is? Well, let me just ask someone.
Right.
You won't know.
And I'm
yourself.
one of those parents
Just
where
sign your name and just give them stuff?
No.
Oh, okay. She said, oh, no. She said, oh, no.
Oh, I don't sign anything I don't read.
Good.
I put my hand, no. I'm one of those parents where I'm in tune to my child's emotions and feelings. And I am less concerned about how someone else defines it or what they call it, more concerned about how it manifests in her. Good. So, whether somebody else agrees or disagrees, I'm less concerned. It's more of the fact that she has a right to her feelings. She has a right. If she feels like someone is attacking her, she has a right to be able to verbalize, this has upset me. Then we can work out on what definition someone else, or how the handbook is going to handle it. But just being aware with the children, like what are you seeing in them? Are they wetting the bed and they've never had problems before? Because they're having these nightmares now at night. Are they screaming and yelling at night? Because,
or during the day. Being aggressive towards you or their siblings.
Correct. Yes, taking it out on other people.
Exactly. Those are the things that people. It's like some of them will say, don't be a tattletale, or stop being so soft, or what. You have to really listen and watch those things.
Say something.
And you have to have a open. I'm not saying you have to be their friends. That I was never my kids' friends, but I did allow them to have some conversation. Allow me to listen to them listen to me. It wasn't a shut them down and don't allow them to have that space to be themselves.
Give them a voice.
Give them a voice, and allow them to be able to express themselves.
That's right.
It's a respectful way to do that. And if you teach them that, like sitting at the table, having that talk every day, how was your day? Even starting out with that, letting them know that you care about their feelings. We have to go back to those things. That's where we're broken, because it's always be quiet, go in your room, take this game.
Get here. You got to do this.
Yes, take this game, go play that game. And the games is watching the kids, the TV's watching the kids, and they don't know how to. They're seeing things on there that's not the way to handle conflict resolution, expressing yourself, being a child. That's not where they can learn that from.
No, not at all.
That's not it.
We have to teach them how to advocate for themselves.
Absolutely.
And see, that's a part of having those conversations. I've shared before, growing up, we used to have roundtable discussions in my house. And I thought that was something that everyone had as far as roundtable discussions. However, we only, when I got older, I only found out that the roundtable discussion was because simple fact our kitchen table was round, and that was an opportunity for our parents to have these types of conversations with us to see what's going on, how was your day, and we couldn't just say fine,
okay,
good. What does that look like? Tell me what does good look like. And I practiced that, with my son. I wanted to know when he came home, how was your day? It was good. Well, what does good look like? What did you do
was
today
good about it
that made it good? Because tomorrow, if you say fine, I need to know what's the difference between good and fine.
Yeah. Or okay.
Exactly.
How many times do you guys get a youth or a child or even an adult in your space where they're coming for help from you and they don't even know how to communicate their feelings?
Yeah.
Because
they don't even know how many feelings exist other than sadness and anger and happiness.
Exactly. So it's like I always say it to my children and even to those that I'm out in the community mentoring. I am here to try to fill your toolbox. And with your toolbox, there's going to be certain tools that you're going to be able to use. Like you can't use a hammer for everything, a screwdriver for everything, a wrench for everything. But I want you to know it's okay if it doesn't work. Try something else. And don't be afraid to tell somebody that you need help with these different tools. Or don't be afraid to toss out some of these tools and replace some tools. I said, but this is the space that I want you to be able to, we're going to help with your toolbox, because I was given tools to pass on to you. I want you to be able to pass them on to the next person. But you got to know how to use your tools, use your voice. That's your tool as well. But we have to let them know you have a box of tools that are going to look different, going to be used different, but it's okay to not be okay. But what are we going to do to be okay?
Right.
So that's my
I would
foundation.
like for them to learn how to use those tools in different ways too,
Absolutely.
and to reinvent the ways in which they can be used. Because a lot of our kids get labeled or get stuck in a box because someone says you can only do certain things a certain way. But our creativity and our culture extends well beyond that, to where we think outside the box. And I think a lot of children today suffer from problem solving because people want to tell them one way to do the answer instead of them learning how to come up and solve the problem themselves.
Absolutely.
So, just reaching, hey, these are these tools. This is how you use them. But be aware that you may use them in different ways sometimes. And they'll create some things you've never seen before if we give them the permission.
Exactly.
To be different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of those things that we say is be different and like it.
Yeah.
Be different and like it. There's not 1,000 Shantaes running around. This world would be boring. There's
With
not
an
1,000
Shantaes
with an A.
A.
There's not 1,000 Dr. Masons running around. It would be boring because we're going to keep seeing the same thing. So be different and like it. Anything that's different about you, utilize it and embrace it and be okay with it. But that's another thing that the kids don't understand is the differences. They want to be the cool kid by having the Jordans and the this and the that. It's okay to be different. Be different and like it. Make up your own stuff, because guess what? They're going to see it and be like, oh, that is kind of cute. Oh, I do like how you did that.
Right.
Oh, you know what? That is kind of cool. And they're going to adapt to it. But if you stand on it and not allow them to break you or even bend you to even be unbreakable, you'll be fine.
And they can't always get that from adults. So we need to have some good kids be able to say that for them, because, sometimes when kids hear that lesson from adults, they're like, oh, you just don't want to spend the money on that, or you don't understand, or you don't value. But we all grew up knowing what it was like to want certain types of shoes.
Absolutely.
Or, I had a few pair. I'm not going to pretend like my parents didn't indulge my, okay? I had to earn them, but I knew what I wanted. And so it's okay to let kids know that, in life you may not have everything that everybody else has, right?
That's one of the things.
But just because you get it don't mean you can keep it, though. And right, and if you want what everybody else, you don't know what they had to do to get that specifically. So
earning and working for it, not just
you'll
giving.
appreciate it. And so I can understand you may want these $500 pair of jeans. I can imagine how difficult it is to go into school. Everybody has on these jeans but you. But your mama different.
Right.
Your mama is not spending $500 on jeans. I'm not spending $500 on one pair of jeans. And if I do buy those jeans, you're going to wear them jeans for 30 days straight. You understand me? Every day they're going to go with every outfit. If you got to hand wash them or whatever, we're going to make this $500 work. But it's about, learning boundaries and understanding as parents remembering what it was like to be a kid.
Yes.
Having some compassion. And our kids go through things that we didn't go through. Like
we didn't
with
have social media.
We didn't have those things. And I've told people before, if we fell down back in the day, we would look around and get back up. If nobody was watching and looking, you may chuckle, laugh yourself, dust. You may be hurt, but you're going to hurry up and get off the ground and keep it moving. Today, you are already a meme before you can get off the ground.
Exactly.
They're already videoing you. They're already sending it to other people, which is a form of bullying.
Absolutely.
And that's what I was going to ask. How do you manage that aspect with your organization and talking about social media? Because social media is, bullying at its best. And, when you think
steroids.
Right. When you think about it as a growing up, you got into a fight, and like you said, it was just those people around you. But now, guess what?
World star.
Your videos, what do they call it? What do you call it?
Shade room?
When your videos, you
go
reach
viral.
Viral. That's it. Your videos go viral, So how do you manage that?
So I want to talk on two things. I want to answer your question, but I want to answer you too when you said something about children. So Parents Against Bullying has ambassadors that are children. We have 4 of them, I want to say. We have an adult ambassador as well, but we have children. And 2 of our children are different, meaning one has autism and one is has oh my goodness, I can't even think, Down syndrome.
That is amazing.
And we highlight them and we teach
Yes.
them, and we also ask them, different things. So, we'll talk about that. We'll get to that soon, but we tell them that they're all stars, successful and smart, terrific and talented, amazing and awesome, and refuse to be bullied or put down, because there's enough room in the sky for all of us to shine, and we
Yes.
all shine differently. Stars are in different shapes, sizes, and form, so you all are stars, no matter how different you are, but be different and like it. So I wanted to
And shine
address
your
that.
light.
Don't never dim your
Regardless.
light
What?
because of anyone else.
Tell them put on some shades, some
Okay.
sunglasses.
Exactly.
And back to you as far as social media. So that's when we have our different workshops, different groups inside of the schools, and even breaking it down to all levels so that they can understand from the top.
When you said inside of the schools, like what?
we go on school tours.
Okay.
We have our Star Bright Kids and Friends. That's our puppet program that I take them along with me when it's age appropriate. When we go to the smaller kids, because the
Okay.
adults love them too. But
Yeah.
we have our puppets so that we can even talk to the younger ones to let them know about. It's fun, but we're giving that strong message about being not being a bully and being a buddy.
Yeah.
When they have phones too when they're younger. Listen, think before you send, meaning SEND, before you hit that button. On to our older kids, when we're in there mentoring them as well, we have different sessions about, when you have your phones out and you're recording these fights, do you know that you can be charged just like as if you were the one putting the hands on? We have to break it down to
Especially
them
when
that
you're
way.
sharing these
That's
things.
it. So,
Absolutely.
and they're like, oh, no, I didn't know that. So it's like educating them through these workshops and these groups and these tours that we do. That's how we talk to our teens, our parents, our younger ones. We have to keep figuring out different creative ways to educate them. So we do it through social media. We do it in person. We do it through groups. We do it through videos. We do it through our puppet shows. So it's just, we always try to think of a creative way to keep reaching any age and getting that message through, that it's really important to think about what you're putting out. And also I tell them, being a reentry coach for our at risk, telling them, listen, when you think you've deleted something, it's out there in the cloud. It's been screen recorded. It's been shared or what have you. And people look at that when they come back to want to give you a job. Do you know that?
Yes.
When you go in, even when you apply for school, do you know that? So they're like, I said, so think about those 3 seconds or those 3 minutes of your life. Do you want it to change your life when you have another chance at life, or even if you're just beginning in life? Either way it goes, think before you send, SEND. So that's one of the things that we do when it comes down to that. Pushing the educational piece of awareness, breaking it down into the most creative ways that we can.
Now, let me ask you something. When we're talking about bullying specifically with our young people, how do you manage this with parents, especially when
They are bullies?
Exactly, when the parents are bullies themselves, and unfortunately, you have kids who are modeling the behaviors
Exactly.
that they see.
Product of the environment.
Exactly.
Learned behaviors.
Bill Cosby said this, and
Wait a minute.
people got upset with Bill when he said this.
And I may be upset in a few
Listen,
seconds.
just eat your biscuit, eat your biscuit, eat your biscuit, eat your biscuit, all right? But Bill Cosby said, if you follow an ugly child home, an ugly person is going to open the door. And people got upset with Bill, thinking that he was talking
About the-
aesthetically.
what you look like on the outside.
Exactly. But Bill was talking about the behaviors,
Characteristics.
Exactly. My grandmother used to say apples and trees.
Don't fall too far.
Exactly.
From the tree.
Apples and trees. Apples and trees, okay?
My mama said crazy recognize crazy.
Hey, that too. But that's an issue, so when you have kids who have challenges and you're trying to work with the parents and you get that same aggression, you get that same kind of pushback, or you see how they manage their child, how do you balance that? I mean, I can come from a clinical perspective, but just as an organization working with those folks.
Can I use 2 examples? One is, I want to use the example of and I still call her a young lady, the young lady who attacked my daughter. And yeah, I see your face. Eat your biscuit.
I'm gonna need more than a biscuit.
In court, her mother was so aggressive, and I thought that the judge was going to just put her out, you know, because it was just like it was hard. But
She was mad that you had something to say
Exactly.
about what had occurred.
well, not really me, just the court in general. Oh, that's not my child. It's this, is that. She loud, and I mean loud in the courtroom. The judge said one more time. I was like, in that situation, I asked the Commonwealth if they can ask the judge if I could mentor the little girl, if I could do her hair, because at the time I still had my salon. When you look good, you feel good, right?
You're nice to the people. They're nicer to you.
Your mother hair wasn't done. I mean, was done, but your hair was not. So, my kids were children of a hairstyle, so their hair was done. Be mad at me for them being straight. Don't be mad at them.
Right.
But it was like I had to take that. I tried to take that approach to try to help out that situation. It didn't work because the judge was like, "Nah, I don't think so." But not this one. But okay, when it comes down to an example of when I received those calls from those irate parents that may have been the bully's parents, but now you want to claim the victim, I let them know I can only assist you if you bring it down. We're going to talk with dignity. We're going to, I'm going to listen to you. You're going to listen to me. We're not going to holler, fuss, cuss, do any of those things. And do you know that you're the one that has to advocate for your child? They cannot advocate for themselves at this particular age to do what needs to be done. And at the end of the day, they are suffering. So are we going to talk? If we're able to, then we can keep going forward. If not, we can go ahead and hang up, or I can go ahead and leave. So it's like I meet them where they are for a second, but I'm going to tell you what my standards
acknowledge
are.
that this may be challenging,
This is
difficult, but we can't continue in this way.
Exactly.
Right.
And then most of the time they think about it. 99% of the time they're like, "Oh, okay."
You right.
I said, because listen, you didn't call me for this. You called me for something that we both need to do for this child or for these children. So what are we going to do?
Right. And see, that's what I find. I find that when you're approached by people in that manner, 99% of the times you're correct. When you let them know, I hear you, okay? And I validate your emotions.
Exactly.
I validate how you feel. However, this is a way that we're going to speak to one another about this situation. It's when I begin to recognize that there's some other things going on, and I think for me,
makes you want to give the children some grace, right?
Well, not necessarily just the grace, but recognizing that there's some mental health issues.
And that's what I do. I connect them at
Yes.
that point. Everybody
Exactly.
in the house.
There's some mental health issues going on. And so when I begin to recognize that component, then the conversation is a little different, because now there's some other things we're going to have to work on, because we can't fix these challenges until you concentrate on that.
Which is manifesting all these other behaviors.
Right.
Yes.
I'm going to use one other example. I was, before the pandemic, I sat on the court team in Norfolk for the truancy. And a lot of times they would ask me to pull the parents into another room and talk to them. So I would ask, what's going on? There's something that is needed,
your child's
there's
not going to
something's going
school.
on.
Yeah, what's happening?
And a lot of the times, sometimes these parents are acting out because they either don't understand what to do, they're frustrated, and they don't know the resources, and feeling like they don't want to ask for the resources. Their pride is in the way of asking for help. I've seen that as well.
Do you find that some of these parents are dropouts themselves?
Absolutely.
Right.
So it's like, once you can build a relationship enough to where they trust you enough to open up to you, so you can find out what's going on, or even a little bit of what's going on, then I start connecting the resources. That's where I'm like, okay, get that Rolodex out, start plugging. Well, are you willing to? Have you ever thought about counseling? Have you ever thought about this? Are you guys hungry? Do you have food stamps? Do you have somewhere to live? Do you this? Do you that? Well, let's contact human services. Let's do that. So it's like I'm very grateful that I was giving these relationships along the way in this 11 years, whether that's from Commonwealth attorney to the human services, to teachers, to principals, to people like Dr. Mason, to police officers, to just a grandma. I'm thankful for these relationships that I have built to be able to pull on them, that they even trust me enough to even bring a lot of these things to them so they can help to build the village back.
Yes, because their pride could easily be injured, but you're not coming in a judging area. You're
Absolutely
coming
not.
really just trying to help and assist.
Absolutely.
And when they see you coming to assist, then they're able to receive it that way.
It was a funny thing my godfather said, I call you Olivia Pope. I said, what you mean? He said, you're a different kind of Olivia Pope, but you'll get it done. I said, really? I said, well, I guess that's a good thing.
To be called you
I was like, okay. He was like, you got to understand the swing of it. But that's just, I was raised that way. My grandparents were community leaders. My grandparents always did things in the community for the youth that were around us, whether they had a parent, didn't have a parent, was the drug dealer or child or what. It didn't matter. They made sure that they gave them some tools to know that it was hope. It was something better. I'm gonna get you. What do you like to do? My grandfather started a drill team.
Really?
I mean, it was like so many things. So I was raised around that. So I don't know anything but the help. Help where you can help out,
Or
if you
finding
can,
resources.
or finding resource to connect.
Because I hear how you said your story started with your daughter being assaulted, basically, and bullied on the bus.
Absolutely.
You felt alone. I remember you saying you
Absolutely.
felt you didn't know what to do or how to handle it. And
Yes.
so you started answering these questions by
Yes.
doing the research and then connecting the different
Connecting the dots.
and then sharing.
Absolutely.
Sharing, even so much so that you wanted to share the person that injured your daughter. Share with the person.
Yeah.
And there's a way to do it, and I applaud you in the approach that you've taken, because some people will have things happen to them, and it gets to that hurt people, and so the mindset is they want to lash out at others, and oftentimes
I'm gonna get you before you can get me.
exactly. And there are others who are in the fight to assist, but they feel like that's their mechanism to hurt other people instead of trying to really sit down and solve problems and work things out. Maybe your situation can't change, but based on the knowledge and the information that you share, it can help someone else.
Absolutely.
However, people may not be willing to listen to you based on your approach. There's a difference in walking up to me and saying, Dr. Mason, I need to talk to you about something. I have a concern, versus walking up to me and hitting me over the head with a bat and then say, listen to me. There's a difference.
Yep.
And I don't think people understand that difference. And so that leads them to, one, perpetuate the cycle of bullying themselves, but then they cry victim.
Yep.
And that's the piece that we have to work on as a community, how we bring that back together, because I like what I'm hearing when you say your grandfather created drill teams and stuff like that or whatever. Where is that sense of community? We've got to get back to, and that's where we have to really own this as adults. It's so easy to blame the children. They're doing this, they're doing that, and we can't let the children run the village.
Dr. Mason, it's almost like, even with just the community centers don't have the activities or the things that we used to have. It's not as open. Some of these community centers charge, and these kids and families can't afford it. It's just so many. Used to be able to go to dance, because everybody's not going to be a basketball player, and everybody's not going to play basketball. Everybody's not going to play football. Everybody's not going to be a cheerleader. So we need to go back to some of those things that we used to have available. To just find out, what is your niche? What do you like to do? Drumming.
I don't care if it's rock painting.
Listen,
But creating
anything.
activity,
Because we're creative people. So. Put that creativity somewhere so that they won't just be idle, because you know what idling does.
Yes.
So they running around. I mean, I remember going to the skating rink. We don't even have one in Hampton anymore. You got to go all the way to Newport News. We know Newport News and Hampton don't really mix. You can't just mix them children like that. You're gonna have some mess. I mean, I'm just being transparent. We don't have the things, the activities that we used to have. We're not having a wide variety of things for our children to have and that they know of. We have to get back to that, because we are losing, because everybody not gonna play these games.
Right.
The games is not the thing. The games, we already see, they showing you how to, you shoot the person, but then you're going to get another opportunity. They're going to get back up. That's not in real life.
Exactly.
That's just like Pac-Man nowadays. You get your power pellets and they run out, then you get some more. This life is not a game. It doesn't do this like this. So, but most of our kids got this in their hands, playing the games.
Right.
We have to pull back,
Right.
but until the village comes up with creative things, or even bring back some of those old things.
You can't take something from somebody if you don't replace it with something. You can't say, give me that,
right?
And you have nothing.
Come up with some things, though. bring it back
It can't
out.
be just one thing, and it can't be just on one person.
No, it can't.
That's why we keep having the conversations.
Right.
And you don't have to feel like you have to save the whole world, the
Absolutely.
whole village. If you are working or saving one individual, that's one less person who's going to go out into the village and harm other people. So I think people do what you can.
Right.
But it has to be a system of resources and
money.
And maybe there's a way to begin that conversation in terms of organizations, building directories of services, and getting people to add into the community centers. Because one of the things that we do see, there was a time that, like you said, dance. I remember my sister taking dance lessons at the YWCA. You know, I remember those types of activities. But now, you know, not to take bread and, you know, butt off of someone else's table.
Right.
But now you see more people having their own dance academies, their own specialized programs that parents are now paying to be a part of.
Everybody can't afford it, though.
Exactly. So how do we get back to where we're offering those other types of activities in these community centers, you know, whereas those kids who cannot afford it can go and get the quality of the lesson, you know, that's the piece that we also have to consider. How do we begin this process? And maybe just looking at, you know, what are people looking at? How do we begin to expose kids to certain things?
Well, you know, social media platforms can be good and bad. But if you use it for the right way, you can get out those things. Like, say, for an example, how you just said that, there may be a young lady out here that does dance, love dance, and want to volunteer her time to maybe come once or twice a month to, you know, to
on a Saturday morning,
meet in the community
somewhere.
or wherever. Even sometimes in walking distance, you find a mutual location that some of these kids can come to, because everybody don't have a car or whatever. But you have to think in that mindset and allow them to start pushing it on their reels or whatever. This is what I do on Saturdays. Make sure you come out. A lot of people do different things, and that's how they push and promote themselves. So it's one
It's
step
just like
at a time.
barbers give haircuts in the beginning of school years, and, you know, hairdressers do hair, you know, to help. We could probably
at the end of the day, it's ways that we could do. We just have to, one step at a time, come together with our different things, you know, and bring in our young people to, even because they might even be willing to want to help to share some of their creativities to do different things. One don't work, two
even
don't
in
work,
the
10 don't work.
sciences.
Right,
You could be teaching kids to code. So if you know how to code, you know, teach some kids how to code.
Exactly. It's such an array of things.
Yeah.
Such array.
Yeah, and so we have to figure that out. And these are the conversations that I think as a community we need to have and really pull some things together and be that village that we were, you know? Because right now, what I see, unfortunately, I see people who have been bullied and they've become the village idiots.
Yep. Exactly.
You know, that's the bottom line, you know? And instead of them doing the right thing, they're out here and everything is just so negative and everything's so wrong, and they're trying to bolster this support for foolishness. You know, and we have got to do better, you know? And like I said, as adults, we have to own this stuff. You can't continue to talk about the children standing on the corner with nothing to do when you're one, not providing a resource and not being there. You got to have some skin in the game, you know? And come into the game with a positive mindset of how are we going to change this and how are we going to work for the good from a positive place.
Solution focused.
Exactly. And not necessarily a negative place. Because some people come in with this, you know, I'm
it ain't gonna work.
I'm a this and I'm going to do that. And not just the whole negative of we'll never be able to, but it's their mindset. It's the blame game. It's the this person is doing this. This is wrong and I'm exposed this and I'm going to do this or whatever.
And who is it hurting?
Exactly. What are you doing? First of all, get yourself some therapy. You know, get over your own personal hurt. Once you get past that, then you can help someone else out and really look at ways in which we can be a positive change in society and with our community and help kids in the right way.
That just takes me to my other saying, push. P stands for patience, U is for understanding, S is for stability, to H, handle your business. Where do you push? Where do you fit in the push? Patience, understanding, stability to handle your business. This is our business. These kids are our future, but they're our right nows. What do we do right now to push them?
Exactly.
So I mean, it's a lot
And
that
propel.
can Come on.
Some people you can shove, you can lead the horse to the water,
But you can't make 'em
cannot
drink.
make them drink.
Well, if you hold their head under that water,
They might drown, bro. You know.
Wait a minute.
that was bullying one. That was bullying one.
Yes, that is a prime
Wait a minute.
example.
My bad. I'm
You
going back
my
to
bad.
the
You going back to the
I'm going
table?
to the buffet.
You
I'll
go
be
to
back.
the-
This water anime. That was.
You're going to drink or drown.
Right.
But when I say that, though, the thing about it is we have to be able to share the information and continue to share. Because eventually the focus is going to, I'm hoping their focus will be that, wow, maybe there's nothing wrong with this water here.
Right.
You follow me? Because unfortunately, sometimes people, they see other folks jump on board and you're doing right or whatever, and the bully will stand on the side with the mindset of, oh, I see all of y'all drinking the Kool-Aid. You know what I mean? And the reality is, no, we're drinking something positive and healthy for this community. You know?
Two things. You talked about people that's standing around earlier. That's the bystanders. They're just as bad as the bully.
Worse.
The other thing is the statistics shows that 57% of the time when someone steps into the bully, it stops.
Yeah.
So you do the math. I mean,
Right.
like you just said, he or she stand over there and say, "Oh, y'all gonna drink the Kool-Aid?" Well, let me see. Do I want to drink the Kool-Aid? Well, they all ain't nobody entertaining me, so let me just go over here and get this Kool-Aid.
Right,
You know, so
right.
it just that 57%, or
Right.
somebody just standing up and bringing them over and talking to them, or getting to the root of what's going on.
Right.
You just don't never know.
They're using your voice for other people who don't seem to be able to have a voice or know how to use their voice. And a lot of times people say, oh, well, don't tell or don't snitch. But we encourage when it comes to bullying that you see something.
Say something.
Say something.
Listen.
Right. But
Because everybody does not respond to bullying the same way. We're losing a lot of kids through suicide.
Yes, bully side.
And other, yes, all these different things are happening because other people won't say something. And then now they're mad when the person has harmed themselves and they're like, oh, I should have, would have, could have said something, but did not.
But
So
this happened with adults, though. You sit back and you watch an adult do certain things, and instead of someone stepping up and say, "Hey, you know,
Sit down
let's
somewhere."
calm down, you know, let's try this another way," or maybe your approach was different, or whatever. We sit and we listen, and sometimes listening to someone's foolishness. And the nonsense that they're spewing, instead of calling them out on it and really pushing back on that or whatever, your silence is encouraging.
And silence is a daily killer, too.
Exactly. People think that, oh, because so-and-so didn't say anything and they were right in the room with me, then they agree with me. You follow me? Versus speaking up and correcting that person just because their aggression or their bullying behaviors were not directed towards you personally.
Right.
That doesn't make you, put you in a position that it's not your responsibility to address. You live in this community.
Yes.
I think of a time when growing up, I couldn't do something 2 or 3 blocks over
without
without
them.
being corrected.
And then gonna get corrected again when you get home.
Exactly.
They're gonna walk you on back
3
home.
times before you get home.
The village.
Exactly. There were friends' parents. Can I talk about being whooped on the whoopings and stuff?
Oh, yeah. Come on.
Look,
This
What
is
you talking about? This Sunday brunch.
All right.
We know the people
I'ma
got
tell it.
whooped.
I got whoopings, y'all. I got whoopings. I'm scarred.
Your mother
I'm still dealing with
right?
it.
But did you die?
Listen, did I die?
Look, I am not advocating
I think I did a
abuse.
couple.
I am not
I think I did a
advocating
couple
abuse.
times. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
you got close to death a few
Right.
times, right?
But what I will
You
say,
saw the light.
there were neighbors, friends, parents who would take care of that problem around the corner. It won't, let me tell your mama, it won't when your mama get home. You follow me? Because they knew the struggles that had occurred.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And the mindset was, this is going to make you better.
Right.
And you knew that they had that sense of community in mind when they disciplined you. And it was never a question when my parents got home, if Miss Mills said this, it was never a question of,
They're gonna go and fuss
Did
at
you
Miss
really
Mills.
do it right?
Right.
Yeah.
Miss Mills wouldn't beat you for a reason,
That's
for no
right.
reason.
That's
You see
right.
what I'm saying? That was the bottom line. But nowadays, you discipline someone's child, you say something, y'all get off that corner. A parent is going to come, why are you going to tell my child get off a corner?
Listen.
This is such and such or whatever. And it's like, you got to understand and respect that they may be trying to keep this kid out of trouble.
And that is the reason why some people don't get involved in the community anymore, unfortunately,
Well, I have
because
the
they
old
don't want to
spirit.
have to
I'm
deal
sorry.
with it. Huh?
I have the old spirit.
Yeah.
Come here. Come close to me.
Don't
Let me talk to
apologize.
you.
We need
Right.
people who are not afraid
Oh, I'm
to do
definitely
what
not.
they feel is right, in those regards, as long as it's in the spirit of not doing harm.
Absolutely.
Now, there's some people out there who do need to mind their business
Yeah.
because they come from a place of,
Yeah.
oh, we're not going to do this and kids shouldn't do that. And they're not evolving and moving, and the
Right.
kid is not doing anything harmful to you or
Right.
whatever because you just don't like this
Right.
element of it. That's not what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
But when you see something about to happen, some danger happening, we should be able to step in and just deal with the consequences afterwards, because at the end point is what's in the best interest of that child.
And it also gave us respect to not want to disappoint. I never wanted to disappoint my parents because I already knew if the neighbors saw me doing
Embarrass
it,
them.
then you're gonna embarrass your grandma and your mama and them. My grandparents told me your name
Meant something.
is everything. You can't mess up the name. You can mess up your
That's
credit.
why your name
and
not
you can-
hyphenated right
Huh?
now.
You better know it. You can mess up your credit, and it's gonna take you a
please
while
don't,
to straighten that out. But
That's
your
right.
name is everything. You mess that up, it's gone. That's what I was taught.
It's
but,
hard.
hey.
We want to provide hope for the people out there. It's hard to recover when you damage your
Yes.
name. It's hard to recover.
Yeah.
And people remember the last thing that you did. That's what they remember, that last way that you made them feel. You could have saved half the world,
Yeah.
but you do one bad thing, and that's what people tap
Remember
into.
that.
So you have to be mindful of all the things we do.
Yes.
Yeah, it only takes one thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we got to get back to that community mindset.
Or else.
We really do. I
Yeah.
mean, because the path that we're on now with some of the things that I see, we're in trouble.
A lot.
We have to stay longer too, and I think that's what happened with our communities as well. We now move. We leave our communities. Before, you were kind of raised in the community. You grew up there. Everybody went there. They went to the same churches and congregations. People in the churches had names, the family names. Like it was different. And now we live all across the world, and we're not generating those same types of communities. We're not staying at our jobs
Yeah.
the same amount of time that we used to stay
Yeah.
back in the day to create that stability in our communities. So now that we know it's not that, we just got to find a different way.
Yeah.
We got to get back to block parties. Now,
Yes.
and, where everybody just come out and have a big
Bring
cookout.
something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I can't say bring something because I don't eat everybody cookout.
I didn't say I was going to
don't-
eat what you brought.
You
I
know
just
what I'm
told you to bring it.
Some of y'all buffets look rough.
Yeah. If it's still sealed up and individually wrapped coming
Listen.
straight from the store, I might indulge you a little bit.
Listen.
Yes.
But block
bring
parties
no-
were fun.
Yes. Oh my
Maybe
God.
we'll have to have a Sunday brunch block party.
Oh, that would be fun. Invite me here.
Yes.
We'll
I
have
like
to have
that. I
a Sunday
like
brunch
that.
block party and
That's
invite
right.
everybody out to
That'd be
talk about
nice.
the things in the community.
Yes.
I like that. That's good. But that's what we need. We need to get back to those block parties where you know your neighbors. You live in the cul-de-sac with people. You're moving. How many
You
of
might
your
even
neighbors
pull
do
that
you
trash
know?
can out. Just
Listen.
because yours went out, they sleeping in. You might,
Listen, I'm thankful. My neighbor will do that in a heartbeat. Yes, yes. And we've lived next door to each other for 20 plus
See?
years.
That's what
See,
you just
that's
said.
what I
Yeah.
was telling you about.
Yeah.
But then you mess around, move, and you won't get a chance to get to know that next individual in that capacity. So I have Ring. I know a lot of us have Ring where you're able to see who's at your door and you're able to connect to your neighbors. And maybe it's services like that people are engaged in. Like when people's dogs go out, they're missing, they alert right there on the app, like, hey, dog is out. And the other day, someone said, look at this kid. There's still good kids out there. I lost my keys, and this kid brought my keys up to my door. And then you could hear the video of the kid saying, hey, these were over here. These are not mine. I'm leaving them right here. And that's just amazing, that he wasn't scared. Because nowadays we tell kids don't approach doors, but that's why it's so hard. The kids don't know which way to do it
Right.
some ways too, because some of the things we could do that create a community, they're not safe to do anymore.
Yeah,
So we
that's
have to
right.
create new ways to do that. You can't just walk up to anybody's door anymore. They're snatching you and pulling you indoors. That's right. You can't just run around to your friend's house around the corner and,
Yeah, that's real.
it's different. So We're going to have a block party, a safe one.
Yes, exactly. But listen, as a little wrap up with dessert, what are some takeaways, in terms of how would you, what would you say to folks in terms of how to manage bullying, recognize bullying? What would people take away from today's table?
Listen, I just want you to remember, and I know we've said it a couple of times throughout our conversation today, but have an open mind. See something, say something. Remember that we're all stars. Let's start with giving some positive affirmations, knowing that, we can build the foundation back up and continue to push patience, understanding, stability to handle your business. In order to do that, we have to come together to do that. Be mindful. Handle with care each other, because you don't know what the next person is going through. But don't ever keep standing on it's not your child, or it's not you, or that didn't happen.
It's not my problem.
Be mindful. Handle with care and be mindful, but continue to push.
I like that. Handle with care. And you got to tell the people about your two products that I'm looking here at the table that they may be able to handle with care.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Well, I have these are just two of my books. One is Let's Push, A Guide to Combat Bullying. That's available on Amazon, or you can go onto our website, www.pabva.com, along with our affirmation coloring book that we just released a couple of months ago, that my grandson that's 9 years old that has autism, he's different and he likes it, and that's a part of this affirmation coloring book, just to pour into him, to let him know he is enough, he is smart, he is talented. So grab your copy of the Positive Affirmation, Starbright Kids book, and the Let's Push, A Guide to Combat Bullying, again on www.pabva.com.
That is awesome. And I like the
it.
fact that you got your grandson involved in it.
Yes.
And definitely, I was flipping through the book early because I see Grandma in here as well.
Granny. Granny shows off, don't she? If you don't know Granny.
Yes. I love it. And that's the thing. We have to be able to teach our kids to be comfortable in their skin.
Absolutely.
Be proud of who you are, flaws and all.
The way you are. And I like the fact that preaching the tolerance of others and their difference. So it's okay for you to be you, but also accept the fact that other people can be themselves too. They don't have to conform to how you want to do things in order to be accepted. But allow people to do them too.
Yes.
We can exist even if we don't always agree.
Remember those stars.
Exactly.
Enough room for all of us to shine and be different.
Yes, definitely so. Because some of y'all like turkey bacon, but I like pork bacon.
I refuse. I don't know who those some people are, but let me tell you, here at Sunday Brunch at this good table, with the good doctors, we gonna get that good bacon.
Exactly.
With the biscuit.
From the pig,
right.
center cut.
Yes, and that's how we're gonna close out on that good bacon today.
Yes.
So,
can you see if they have some more? We're gonna have to see if we have some more.
I certainly will.
Thank you.
I am Dr. Richard Mason.
I am Dr. Tamara Williams.
And thank you for joining us right here on Smooth 88.1.
WHOV, the essence of HU.
Keep you full.
Someday we'll be able to measure the power of words. I think they are things. I think they get on the walls. They get in your wallpaper. They get in your rugs, in your upholstery, in your clothes, and finally into you.
Thank you for joining us at the table.
Tune in next Sunday at 1 p.m. for more delicious topical recipes for life on the Sunday Brunch.
On Smooth 88.1 WHOV.